Welcome to Genius Hub, the right destination for human capacity development, skills acquisition, and empowerment. Genius Hub is a human capital development organization with offices across Nigeria and Africa, and with a strong presence in Lagos, Kano, Edo, and Rwanda. With a vision to improve lives and empower knowledge, Genius Hub prides itself in providing services and training to over 17,000 persons in over 49 TVET entrepreneurship, employability, and digital skills such as basic literacy skills, graphics design, website development, digital marketing, filmmaking, and many more. Genius Hub is committed to promoting MSME growth and visibility through incubation, acceleration, startup development services, as well as tech-driven interventions, including training and capacity building in digital marketing, basic digital literacy, product photography, social media marketing, financial management, search engine optimization, and more. Through NYTV, Genius Hub reaches out to train aspiring creatives in the areas of photography, cinematography, editing, lighting, and many more. Welcome to Genius Hub, the right destination for human capacity development, skills acquisition, and empowerment. Genius Hub is a human capital development organization with offices across Nigeria and Africa, and with a strong presence in Lagos, Kano, Edo, and Rwanda. With a vision to improve lives and empower knowledge, Genius Hub prides itself in providing services and training to over 17,000 persons in over 49 TVET entrepreneurship, employability, and digital skills such as basic literacy skills, graphics design, website development, digital marketing, filmmaking, and many more. Genius Hub is committed to promoting MSME growth and visibility through incubation, acceleration, startup development services, as well as tech-driven interventions, including training and capacity building in digital marketing, basic digital literacy, product photography, social media marketing, financial management, search engine optimization, and more. Through NYTV, Genius Hub reaches out to train aspiring creatives in the areas of photography, cinematography, editing, lighting, and many more. Welcome to Genius Hub, the right destination for human capacity development, skills acquisition, and empowerment. Genius Hub is a human capital development organization with offices across Nigeria and Africa, and with a strong presence in Lagos, Kano, Edo, and Rwanda. With a vision to improve lives and empower knowledge, Genius Hub prides itself in providing services and training to over 17,000 persons in over 49 TVET entrepreneurship, employability, and digital skills such as basic literacy skills, graphics design, website development, digital marketing, filmmaking, and many more. Genius Hub is committed to promoting MSME growth and visibility through incubation, acceleration, startup development services, as well as tech-driven interventions, including training and capacity building in digital marketing, basic digital literacy, product photography, social media marketing, financial management, search engine optimization, and more. Through NYTV, Genius Hub reaches out to train aspiring creatives in the areas of photography, cinematography, editing, lighting, and many more.
Mr. Capacity, are you here? Can we see your face? Good afternoon, everyone. We welcome you all to our Genius Hub webinar series. And today we are having Ibrahim Odion, but I don't know him by that name. Oh, I know him as Mr. Capacity. Once you say capacity, everybody knows who you are talking about. Mr. Capacity, will I say your name, you will officially add that capacity, Ibrahim Odion Capacity, so that the name, so that it will hot well. Welcome. That's where you are joining us from. Today's topic is going to be personal branding versus business branding. Which one comes first? Just as I saw Ibrahim Odiona, I said this man is Mr. Capacity. He already knows which one is coming first. So he's going to be doing justice to that for us today. But before we do that, we welcome you all and we bring you greetings from Isimeme White. Isimeme White is our Chief Innovation Officer at Genius Hub, and she's the host of this webinar program. Usually the host will be joining us very shortly. Mr. Capacity happened to be someone who is very well known to us, and I can say he's also a part of the Genius Hub family. Mr. Capacity, am I wrong?
You are not wrong. You are very correct.
Not wrong at all. So today is a family affair. But apart from that, he's someone who is very dogged. He's rigid in what he knows, and he walks the talk. He knows what he wants, and he goes for it. since the very day we put him up for this webinar, he's been excited and expecting to speak to us on this our webinar series. Mr. Capacity, as we call him, he's full of energy. And I'm just going to read out a brief from his profile. He has a lot here. Mr. Capacity, if we take all this one today, hey. So Odion Ibrahim is a seasoned professional and an internationally accredited coach by the European Mentoring and Coaching Council and a member of the EMCA Global Certified in Business Development, Leadership, and Human Capacity Development with a Master's in Business Administration from the Quadi School of Business and Technology, USA, a German certified business trainer, facilitator, and coach. He has earned a reputation as a well-respected consultant in human capacity development. Currently, he is the acting executive director of Ignite Startup, leading business and leadership school in Benin, and the director of operations for the Richard George Foundation. As the founder of Capacity, call that name for me. Oh.
New career home.
Okay. A distinguished management consulting and teaching essential skills, mindset, and knowledge needed for peak performance. Worked with organizations. A lot of organizations are here, and I'm proud to say that Genius Hub is one of the organizations that he has cited here. Ibrahim Odion earned his bachelor's degree in animal science from the prestigious University of Benin, Edo State. He was recognized as the Leadership Champion Awardee, Best Graduating Student Awardee, and an inductee into the Ignite Startup training program at the African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development in collaboration with the Ignite Startup. Ibrahim is driven by his passion to inspire a generation. He is dedicated to boosting individual productivity. That's why we gave him this topic, personal branding versus business branding, which comes first, and strengthening the capacity of organizations to deliver superior results through training, facilitations, and coaching measures. He's fondly called, that's where I actually started from. So I started from the under. He's fondly called Mr. Capacity because of the high positive energy that is exuded during all his sessions. Although he's virtual with us, they just get ready to catch some of this energy and tap into some of this energy. His smile alone is infectious. So with Boza, we welcome Odion Ibrahim, aka Mr. Capacity. Mr. Capacity, how are you doing today?
Yeah, thank you very much, CEO Becky, the opulent Becky. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm full of excitement. I'm excited to be
I
here.
can
When I
see
got
it.
the mail from you, I mean, I said, "Wow, Genius of webinar, more like a dream come true for me."
Oh,
Yeah,
wonderful. So
honestly
our
speaking,
topic today is personal branding versus
yeah,
business branding. Which comes first? Before we dive into it, you remember a few nights ago, we were both awake and we were chatting and doing
exactly.
some corrections. And you made a very valid point about Genius Hub. I sent you your the flyer, and you say, what?
Yes.
And there was a mistake, and you sent it back to me for correction. And I sent the corrected version to you, and you say, what? Una not they sleep. So una not they sleep. You said no. I was not expecting that this thing will come right now. What is going
Yes.
on here? And I said something to you. I said, you self they awake. So why should we not be awake? So capacity is awake. Awake, as in awake. And so, whilst we are delving straight into it, personal branding. What have you to say to us about personal branding?
Yeah, thank you very, very much. Once again, the opulent Ubehi. I must confess, you look very amazing in your outfits. Yeah, look very, very regal. Thank you so much. First and foremost, I want to sincerely thank the CEO, the founder of Genius Hub, uh, Mrs. Cecilia Wise, who, like you said, this is going to be a family conversation. uh, this webinar, I have watched this webinar. I follow some of the webinars right from when it started. I've seen consistency and I've been greatly inspired. So when I got the mail and said, I had to go and screenshot and posted it somewhere. I said, wow, do you know what Genius
It's
Hub
your
is?
turn. It's your turn. Milo it's
I
your
said,
turn.
I said, do you know what Genius Hub? I mean, when you hear Genius Hub, they have no competitor in the space where they play. I mean, these guys are amazing at what they do. I looked at the caliber of people that usually will attend, they bring in as speakers. I was telling somebody, I said, in all honesty, those people are people who have taught me, who have mentored me in one way or the other. And then they are not calling this small boy who is just trying to to come out. I'm really, really excited about this opportunity to share with us, some of my experiences, my thoughts as it relates to personal branding. Um, of course, I wouldn't talk about personal branding without making reference to the Chief Innovation Officer of Genius or the President of Mrs. Simone White, who is the chief host of this particular webinar series. Her life is actually a brand that has inspired me. And some of the thoughts I'm going to be sharing, while in the course of preparing for this conversation, I certainly, some of the thoughts I'll be sharing are things I have literally observed and seen her do. Right? So, thank you very much once again, Obey. I thank the entire Genius All staff and management team for putting this together. It's a platform I've just imagined. I was just say, say one day person will come speak for this kind of platform like this, and I mean, I'm so excited to hear. And of course, we are going to be discussing personal branding. So, but before we go into personal branding, the topic is very personal to me as a person, largely because personal branding is a life for me. What I'm going to be sharing is what I I have lived. So they are not things that I just went to Google. Just no, they are things I have lived. So most of the things I will be saying are my own personal experience and experiences from people that I have followed. Now, when we talk about a brand, I don't know if you can hear me clearly. It's raining heavily at my own end, but I just need to be
We
sure
can
that
hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you.
fabulous, fabulous,
If you can hear
fabulous.
us, just type on the chat. We can hear you so that we will know you are following us.
Okay. So yeah, let me first of all say this. Let me first of all ask this question. So, CEO, you will just help me to read whatever thing anyone says in the comment section. Meanwhile, I need to know when am I expected to end this webinar? When is the webinar expected to end?
1 hour session. 1 hour session.
Okay,
We'll
so by
moderate
one
you.
by oh, fantastic! Thank you very much. Because sometimes the passion can just make me, So let me ask this question. I'm just going to list a few, call out a few names, and I just want you to tell me what those people are associated with. So when I say Cristiano Ronaldo, what comes to mind when you hear the name Cristiano Ronaldo? I just need you to type in the comment section what comes to mind. Is it? I don't want to say anything beyond this. What comes to mind when you hear Cristiano Ronaldo? Is there anybody that is happy to share what do you associate him with when you hear the name Cristiano Ronaldo? Is there anybody that is typing in the comment section? Though I can't see it from my end. So CEO, you just help me if there's anybody who is saying anything. I think you are muted. Okay,
somebody
yeah.
just said footballer.
Oh,
They
beautiful.
are
I think,
typing
oh, footballer. Fantastic. Oh,
footballer.
beautiful.
Then somebody
Fantastic. I
said
think I can read
football lord. You can read it.
football lord.
Football lord.
Yes, yes, I can see it on my screen. Yes. So when you hear the name Tiger Woods, what comes to mind when you hear the name Tiger Woods? Tiger Woods, who will be happy to share? Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods. When you hear the name Tiger Woods, what do you associate such person with or such name with? Fantastic.
Golfing.
Christian Asemota say golfing, exactly. Emmanuel he said golfing, yes, exactly. Ngozi said golf. So when you hear the name Muhammad Ali, what do you associate that name with? We are going somewhere. Boxing, fantastic. Thank you so much, Antonia. Thank you so much, Imelda. Thank you, Dixon. Yes. Now, let me ask. When we hear the name Isimeme White, what comes to mind? When you hear the name Isimeme White, what do you associate that name with? When you hear Isimeme White, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Don't think too much. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the name Isimeme White? What comes to your mind? An NGO, fantastic. Okay, the first thing that comes to your mind is NGO.
Genius Hall. Somebody said
Genius Hall. Exactly. And that person say MSME. Yes.
Impact.
Interesting.
For me, impact.
Fantastic.
MSME prof. Yeah.
I'm seeing which is MSME prof. I see a Christian. I see what I said, Mama Home. Fantastic. So you can imagine this is what people think. Exactly. So another person said, Joseph Dada said business branding. So someone said capacity building. So when we hear Isimeme White, oh my goodness, I think I like it. Self-worth
and
body image. Interesting. So now let me ask, if I should hear your name, what comes to mind? Now we are about to start this conversation, and for the next few minutes we are going to be just pick as much as we can pick in this conversation. I'm going to be sharing with you practicality of how you can literally build a personal brand that everybody will want to associate with. Now, when we hear your name, we have called Muhammad Ali, we have called Cristiano Ronaldo, we have called Tiger Woods. Now, when we hear your name, I don't need you to type it. I want you to ask yourself, what comes to mind when people hear your name? What is the first thing, the image they have about you as an individual when they hear your name? Whatever thing that comes to their mind when they hear your name is that thing is called your brand. So if I should hear the name Mr. Ibrahim, in the mind of CEO of Genius Hub, what comes to my mind is capacity. To another person, he sees a different reality. To another individual, he could see another different thing. So I can be many things to different people. I can be many things to different people. I can be to you as a capacity. For instance, let's say I'm not married yet. Now, to my wife, I could be a husband. To my children, I am a father. To my family members, I am their son. To my mentors, I am their mentee. To my coaches, I am their coachee. The relationship that each and every one of these, the whatever thing that transition in this relationship, the approach is entirely different. The way I will relate to my children is not the same way I probably relate with my wife. So the perception when you meet with somebody who will be my wife, the first thing that comes to my mind, oh, he's my husband. That is your brand. So now when we say, what comes to mind when people hear your name? This thing is so important. Why is this concept of branding important? Now I'm going to be talking about branding. We'll go into personal branding. We'll talk a bit about business branding. Then we wrap up with which should come first. So what comes to mind? So why is this thing important? You see, we are in a time and age where, in fact, many years ago, it used to be have BSc and you stand out. The time came where they will say, it is no longer BSc, you need to have an MSc for you to stand out in the competitive job markets. Now, a time came, they said, you need to have BSc, MSc, and also probably have a PhD for you to stand out in the competitive job market. As if that was not enough, they will now tell you that, in fact, for you to stand out now, you even have to have your master's or a PhD from an institution abroad. So you have to go and school abroad, and then that becomes your competitive edge. Now, follow me, guys. We are going to learn a whole lot. Now, that becomes your competitive edge. Now, time went, they now said, okay, we no longer want your academic qualification. We now want to see your certification. So people will go as far as getting so many certifications, just to stand out in a competitive job market. But a time came where it is no longer your certifications that count. It is no longer your academic qualification that counts. What now matters is who you are as a person. People are no longer interested in the qualifications you have. People are no longer so much interested in the certification that you have gathered. People are now interested in who you are. It is who you are that stands you out in this dispensation where we are. It is who you are that stands you out from this civilization where we are. We are in the 21st century, very correct. But you see, in this time and age, who you are is what people want to relate with. It is no longer your qualification. That's why I can study animal sciences and go and be doing human capacity building. Mrs. Zimeme White can study microbiology and go into social entrepreneurship, MSME development, human capacity building, and all that. So right now, it is no longer what you studied. It is no longer the qualifications you have. It is no longer the certifications you've acquired, but who you are as a person. That is why value, everything on earth, not just money, everything on earth follows not just value, but something called perceived value. Money, people, attention, resources does not just follow value, it follows the perception of value. So we are in a time where it is no longer your certification that will stand you up, but who you are as a person. People want to do business with you because they know you, they like you, and they trust you. This is why personal branding is very, very important. In fact, it has become your competitive edge in this current civilization. So you can have a lot of people, for those who are job seekers, you can apply for a job. In fact, in the course of this conversation, I'm going to be sharing with us some very striking statistics that is important for we to have in mind in the course of our, developing our personal branding strategies and personal branding initiatives. So now, what is a brand? What is a brand? Because we are in a time and age where what stands you out is no longer your certificate. So what stands me out is who I am as a person. Who are you? They want to know who you are. I'm going to be sharing with us some experiences I have had. What is a brand? Now, this is how I define a brand. A brand is an intangible asset. The key word there is intangible asset. An intangible asset of an individual or business that seeks to achieve one thing. What it seeks to achieve is to define a public image of a person or a business. What is the end goal? The end goal is to stand out from a crowded world or a crowded market. I repeat, a brand, we have not talked about personal brand yet. A brand is an intangible asset. What makes it intangible is the fact that you can't hold it, you can't feel it. It is an asset because it has the capacity, it has the potency, it has the ability to bring you wealth. It has the ability to bring you money. It has the ability to, you can use it to trade. In fact, you can use it as a collateral. So a brand is an intangible asset. It's something that can, when you are doing, those of you in finance, you have your asset, you have your liability. A brand is something that literally can bring you wealth, that can bring you fame, that can bring you money. And you can use it, that's your brand. That brand can be used to as a collateral in exchange for probably a loan or whatever thing. What does this seek to do? The intention is to define a public image of a person or a business. A brand is an intangible asset of an individual or business that seeks to define a public image. So whenever you see Mrs. White do anything, or Cristiano Ronaldo, or whatever, those people we have aforementioned, they have built a perception that has now become an intangible asset. So they have defined a public image about themselves. And the intention is that they want to stand out from a crowded world. Because you see, a man can be valuable. You can be valuable. But in this our current civilization, it is no longer being valuable is no longer enough. You also have to be visible. If you are valuable but not visible, nobody will know you, nobody will recognize you, nobody will patronize you, and nobody will reward you. I repeat, if we are in a time and age where if you are valuable but you are not visible, nobody will know you, nobody will recognize you, nobody will patronize you, and nobody can reward you. So when you are engaging or carrying out any personal branding initiative or endeavor, the intention is to define a public image. There is a way I want to be perceived. In other words, your brand is is people's perception about you. How do I perceive this person? When I look at CEO for the first time, or when we have a conversation for the first time, how do I perceive her? When I look at Isime, my wife, for the first time, how do I perceive her? When I hear the name. So how I perceive you is what creates the perception I have about you. And that perception is what translates into the reality I have about you. And that reality is what also translates into how I will now begin to associate with you. So let me share with you guys something that happened to me one time when I went to my hometown. I went to Mrs. Malama is here.
Capacity, take a break, man. Take a break. Take a break. Swallow street. Oh, welcome.
Oh my God.
Wow, you're not busting our air. Thank you for honoring us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Waiting for this special day to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you so much. So as I was saying, I was in a vehicle. So I went to my hometown. I was going to Auchi. So when there was a security checkpoint. And when I got there, the military man said I should come down. I was looking, the way I was dressed in a vintage shirt with a jean that is rugged, decently rugged, not that it's decently rugged. And then I was just dressing like a normal young guy. So he asked me to come down. Now, why would he ask me to come down and every other person in the bus to sit? So this is what happened. When I came and we started talking, he now realized that I am not the kind of person he is looking for. In other words, I'm not, if you understand what I mean, I'm not the kind of person he's looking for, because they feel that whoever dressed like that is probably an internet fraudster. So as soon as he saw me, he just said, come. So when I now talk, that is why I'm going to be sharing us on certain things we are going to be doing, which I've learned from I'm unapologetic. Whatever thing I'm going to be sharing are things I have literally learned from the CIO of Genius Hub, Isime, my wife. What I've learned from them as an organization, working with them, what I've learned from her as an individual. So we are going to be having a very short time. So this is it. When I finished, when I engaged him, the way I appeared was what created his perception at first. The way I appear created this perception. So you just feel that this person will probably be a fraudster. When I now came to him, we started engaging. He now said, okay, how are you? Where are you going to? I said, I'm going to Abuja. He now said, okay. He said, you can go. Because there is a way I dress. Now, the dressing, now there's a way I spoke that didn't relate to the kind of person he's looking for. Because the kind of person he's looking for, there's a language they speak. That is why when it comes to branding, there are certain things that defines it. Number one, or your public image. Number one is how you are perceived, your appearance. In fact, 90% of the information that is transferred to your brain is 90% of the information that is transferred to your brain for judgment comes from your visuals. So I could look at you and just decide from afar that this is the kind of person you are. So when it comes to branding, it is an intentional effort. Keyword, intentional effort. You are intentional, you are strategic to ensure that the perception people create about you is consistent with your core values. For instance, I can decide to make you think a certain way of me. I can decide to make you feel like I am a big boy. I can decide to make you feel like you see, when it has to do with branding, you decide what you want people to think about you. There is something called a brand, there's something called a reputation. A reputation is what people think about you. Your brand is how you want them to think about you. Your reputation is what people think about you. So when I hear the name, Isimeme White, you guys are saying MSN professor, human capacity developer, some of us call her the genius governor. That is a reputation. Though that reputation did not just form in our head in one day. It was a deliberate and strategic effort to ensure that that public image is defined. To ensure that that particular, this is how I want you to think about me. That is a brand. So when you know that you are a brand, now listen, you are not just an individual. Please, you are not just an individual, you are a brand. You are not just an individual, you are a brand. When you carry yourself like this, you will know the way to dress, the way to smell, the way to talk, and how to smile. You will know how to dress, how to carry yourself in the public. You will know the kind of perfume. I mean, you will invest in your appearance, you will invest in your mind, and you will invest in your smile. When I go to certain places, I have seen Mrs. Isimeme White. You will watch the way she wants to engage. The first thing, she smiles. But the first thing that will attract you to her to make you see that this person is a valuable person is her appearance. Her appearance. I have gone for meetings with her. Her appearance is what will first of all create that perception. Because it is perception that defines reality. And it is reality people have about you that decides whether they do business with you or it decides what they say about you. So when we go to branding, it is an intangible asset that seeks to define a public image of an individual or business with the intention to stand out. With the intention to stand out, like I said, before your BSc can stand you out, but in this our current civilization, it is your brand that stands you out. It is no longer your certification. It is who you are as a person that stands you out. This is why, in fact, let me go ahead of myself. This is why when it has to do with business branding and personal branding, people do business with people, not with businesses. People will do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. People do business with people. It is people to people business first. Every business transaction is a person to person transaction before it becomes a business to business transaction. In this our civilization, every business is a person to person transaction. So you and I, for instance, CEO, if I want to go into any business with Genius Hub, it is first on a person to person basis. Then the business becomes the entity or the platform upon which that transaction is initiated and sustained. So if you want to do business with me on a B2B level, the first thing that has to happen is that you have to know me, you have to like me, you have to trust me. Because anything that comes out of me, let me put it this way, the business as an entity is something that comes out, it's a product of me. Not that it's not something different from me, it's a product of me. But once you, of course, when you register it and all that, it becomes an entity separate from you. But at first, it comes out from you. That is why certain people, when they want to do business with you, the first thing they will ask is who are the organizational leaders, who are the people in charge, because they want to know them. They want to know what is their reputation. Are they people that are credible? Are they people that are reliable? Can they do the job? I may be wrong, but I'm very sure that most of the contracts or projects that Genius Hub probably would have executed is because of the personal brand of his management staff. So when they look at it and say, oh, I just like the CEO, I just like the management staff, I just like my wife. So I think based on the things I have seen, her personal brand, I can do business with her. So Mark, can we do something? Can we collaborate? Can we execute this project together? Then Genius Hub becomes the platform upon which that thing is initiated and sustained. So your personal brand is what people think about you. What people think about you. Today you will learn that it matters what people think about you. I don't subscribe to the school of thought that say, don't care what people think, don't care what people say. I will tell you that it's in the world where we are in, it's the game that sustains people is the game of referrals. That people recommend you to the degree to which they perceive you to be credible, they perceive you to be reliable, they perceive you to have their best interests at heart. That's why in this our civilization, trust is a currency. And the course of this, I will show us the equation for trust, and then we'll call it a day. So, what is your personal brand? It is what people think about you. Your personal brand is what people think about you. Number two, your personal brand is what people say about you. I read in a historical book that a man who is arguably one of the best, or rather one of the greatest men that has served, that has served mankind, he had his disciples, and then he asked the disciples a question. He said, who do men say that I am? Who do people say that I am? What is my perception out there? How do people see me? What is my reputation? Because you see, your reputation can be invested. It's why I have the number of times I have worked with people who are way above me. Sometimes these people don't look for how valuable you are. They look for certain things called virtue. They look for certain character traits of honor, of gratitude, of loyalty before they can recommend you. So when they recommend you, even if you don't know how to do the job, they will say, this person will learn on the job. I am investing my credibility and investing my reputation on him. You see, Simone can write on a piece of paper and say, please assist, and say, take this thing to government house. Her signature becomes a signature of access. Because you see, when it comes to branding, your name is either a padlock or your name is a key. It's either the mention of your name, a door will open, or the mention of your name, a door will close. So when you understand this, you are very intentional about your personal branding efforts. Because what people say, what people think, and how people see you matters a lot in this our civilization. It matters. So your brand forms your reputation. Like I said, reputation is how I think about somebody. Branding is how I want them to think about me. There's a way if this training was to be, let's say, physical training, there's a way I can dress. If I dress, I plait my hair, I put on an earring, and then I put on a chain, and then I come for the training. See, you're laughing. There's a perception that will be created immediately. Like I said, the judgment people have about you 90% of it come from your visuals.
I would think you are a musician. You are a showbiz person.
Exactly. Beautiful. Beautiful. So the next is that this person is coming to teach us on leadership. How come he's dressed like somebody who is going to the club, or somebody who's going there to perform in a show? It doesn't tally. So why? So I decide how I want you to think about me. It is a deliberate attempt. When I decide how I want you to think, what I want you to say, how I want you to perceive me as an individual, I am being intentional with branding. That is branding. So now let me give us some statistics so that we understand the place, how important personal branding is. But before that, I wrote something down here that your brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room. I usually will do this exercise. I'll tell people that, so how will you describe me to a stranger? How will you describe my personality? How will how would you describe me as a person to a stranger? And then I ask them to give me very honest feedback, and then they provide me feedback. That's whatever thing they say is how they perceive me. Whatever thing they say is how they think of me. So my brand is what people say about me when I am not in the room. See, my God, I wish. See, don't you see this concept of don't care what people say? It matters. Or in fact, it matters what people think about you. Just pray that the people that are thinking about you are not the people who will decide your next level. If your next level in life will be decided by a man who will sometimes you see that's why we say don't despise anybody. Both your security man, you don't despise him. Those who are above you, you don't despise them. Those who are the same level to you, don't despise them. Those who are below you, don't despise them. Now, permit me to share this. I was having a conversation one day with this my wife, and then she was talking, and I told her that, Mama, you have a sustainability strategy for your personal brand, and you will last a long time. I said it to her in the secret, and I'm saying it to her in the public. She will last a long time. Why do I say this? This is my wife is at a stage where she is investing so much in younger people. So anywhere as she's investing in us, a time will come based on the time of life. She will not always be in the limelight. She will not always be on the table of where things. That energy might no longer be there to be traveling. Now, the people she has invested in will now begin to anywhere they are going. That name keeps ringing. So though she's not actively involved in activities again, she is still relevant. So in business life cycle, there is something they call product when you get product life cycle, there's something that happens to the product where it begins to lose relevance in the marketplace. You do what we call you reinvent the product. You begin to reinvent. But when it has to do with humans, you begin to reproduce yourself because you want to continue with that brand. You take your values, you take your conviction and transfer it to younger people who will take on with what you have taught them. Because the greatest thing you can transfer to anybody are your convictions. So now that your conviction moves with them, and anywhere they hear your name, the people loyal to them will also be loyal to you as an individual. That is your brand. So it is the amalgamation of the beliefs, the feelings, and attitude, and even expectation that people have about you. And your goal is to ensure that the narrative that is created about you, is one, accurate. Number two, it is coherent. Meaning that coherence talks about the things you say and the things you do. It is accurate, it is coherent, it is compelling. And number four, it is differentiated. Your goal when it has to do with branding is to ensure that whatever thing people think about is accurate information, is coherent with your values. Number three, it is compelling. Number four, it is differentiated. So I want you to do this exercise. I want you to, when you go home, or just call your friends. It could just be even at the office. Just go. What do you people think? What comes to mind? How do you, if a stranger should walk in here, how will you introduce me to the person? How will you describe my personality to the person? And just sit down and hear. So whatever thing they say about you, we take it. If what they are saying about you is positive, take it. What they are saying about you is negative, take it and go and work on it. Because everything, in fact, you don't blame them for how they think. You will blame yourself for how they think about you. Because it is the perception you have created. It is what you are doing that has created a perception. And their perception has become their reality of you. I don't know if I don't know if I'm making sense. Yes, your name is either a key or your name is a padlock. Are we following? Can we still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
Wow. Fabulous. Now, when it has to do with personal branding, now there are certain things I like to use the Albert Moravian rule. The Albert Moravian rule says that 55% of the impression people create about you, like I said, it is important what people think about you. Your impression management. You literally will create or decide how you want people to think about you. Now, 55% come from your visuals. The perception people have about you, research has shown that 55% of it comes from your visuals. Something is echoing. I don't know if it's from my end. Oh, great. All right, thanks. So now, 55% comes from your visuals. 38% comes from your body language, your tone of inflection, and 7% comes from your content. I tell young people that there is a point you will get to in your personal growth journey that you must intentionally begin to invest in your looks and no longer in your books. Because you must look like what you carry. There was a time when I paid Mrs. My wife to visit, and she said, Ibrahim, go and get Hausa cap. That when you put on native, get Hausa cap, it created, and I did not waste time. I went to get that cap. As she said it to me, I think on a Friday, on a Saturday, I went to get a cap. I bought 5. I still have them. And look at what happened. That thing changed the perception people have about me. One day, to tell you how important this personal branding thing is. I was somewhere in government house. We went to say small boy like me. They carried my bag because of the way I put on the cap. Because there is a way people perceive you based on how you appear. Like I said, 90% of the judgment people have about you comes from your visuals. Comes from your visuals. So the way you appear matters a whole lot. So when you dress well, when you smell well, when you think well, when you dress well, when you smell well, when you talk well and learn to smile, there is nobody on earth that can reject you. When you learn to dress well, when you learn to smell well, when you learn to talk well, and you have smile as a logo, there is nobody that will reject you. Why? Those are the things that, in fact, your dressing, your smell, and your smile is what first of all capture the person's attention. Once you capture the person's attention, the person now hears you talk. The next thing, in fact, let me see my wife as an example again. When you perceive her from afar, the way she dresses, you come close, she smells well. The next thing, you see the smile. Then you think that's all. Then by the time she begins to engage you in a conversation and begin to tell you how this project can be done, I begin to tell you the things she has done. The next thing is, can we do business? So you will first of all do business with her before you now use Genius Hub as the platform to initiate it. This is why most organizations that do so well, most of their top management staff and founders have very strong online presence. Very strong online presence. So if you ask me, in my opinion, I'll tell you that a personal brand, once your personal brand, as in this our dispensation, people do business with people they know, they like, they trust. How do they know you? They're always showing up online.
Right on that. You are you're absolutely correct about people doing business with people they know. Your personal branding will definitely come first, because again, you came first before your brand came first. So you gave them first. When your name has been there, people already know you. They call it acquired integrity. People already have perception about you before your brand. So your personal branding is everything. Like you said, it's the summary of the perception of people about you. That's one. It's also the perception you have created, your social mirror of yourself. Then when we talk about personal branding again, personal branding has nothing to do with your logo, has nothing to do with your colors, whatever you want to call it, but it has to do with the results when people eventually engage with you. The perception you have created. You may look good, look everything, but what perception have you created at the end of the day? So you're looking good, you're smelling well, all of that are all marketing advertisements. But the perception has been created, whether good or bad. So who are you? What do you want people to see as? What do you want to be remembered for? What kind of identity do you want to create? Where even our Lord Jesus Christ even asked, he said, "What do people say I am?"
I am. Exactly. That's branding.
authentic in the process, be original, but most importantly, remember there's a result. So branding for me is results. So when we're talking about results here, I'm talking about the overview, the emotional perception, physical perception, psychological perception of who you are is your personal branding. So some people may be connected to you emotionally. What do they think of you when they think about emotion? What kind of emotion do you demonstrate when people have conversation with you? So personal branding is the first branding. So if you're a business person listening to all this on this platform, have it at the back of your mind. A personal branding come first before your organization branding or before your professional brand or business branding. But your personal branding, it is what brings the conversation, the identity, the attraction, the conversation to your personal, to your business branding. So who you are matters. Who you listen to matters. Who you follow matters. All of this will form an opinion about you. Again, people are watching. So when they think of you, what comes to their mind? When they listen to you, what do they hear? When they see you among people, what kind of perception are you creating? There's this parable that is very, very old. Is it a parable now? This saying, show me your friends, and I can tell what kind of person you are, right? Well, now, who you follow on social platforms, we just give it away. Who you, I'm not talking about who follows you, who you follows, we give an overview of who you are. The content you put out there will also give us a perception of who you are. And branding is about perception, and perception is about results. It's overview of everything. So who you are matters. So I know it's difficult sometimes. Some people, me that I'm talking to you, I've had my flaws. I've had times where I've made mistakes. I've had times where I know that, man, I messed up big time. But that is self-awareness, which is also another factor that you must put in place. The ability to be self-aware of yourself, of your thoughts, and of your progress. Like, okay, I made this mistake and I need to move forward. It's also good. So you are human, so you are allowed to make mistakes and all that. But again, that's about some like 20% of you. But what happened to the 80%? So who you are matters. So I really, really enjoyed this conversation, Ibrahim. You've opened a lot of thoughts, you've opened our minds, and conversation is an interesting one. You can never stop personal branding. You can never stop. In fact, it's never too much. It's never too much. As a business owner, you need to be out there. You cannot be saying you are too shy. It doesn't pay the bills. If you're a business person, you have to prove yourself because you are the first identity. You are the first brand ambassador of that brand. What you look like, what comes out from your mouth matters. You don't need to know how to speak well. You don't need to be perfect, but just keep doing it. Be consistent, be resilient. Over time, you become perfect. Over time, people start looking up to you. Remember, in your space, there are people who don't have 1% of the knowledge you have. So what's stopping you really? What's really stopping you? So personal branding is everything. And for you to be top notch, for you to be on top of your game, it means that knowledge-wise, you have to expose yourself to receive more knowledge. Because again, it's part of your branding. You can't be a brand, you don't even have a product knowledge of your brand. You don't even know the industry leaders in your brand. So you must know that in this ecosystem of yours, you must know everybody. Everybody must not know you, but try your best to know who is who. Try your best to understand it, to be able to speak the language. Every industry, every ecosystem have industry languages. You must learn to use it. So personal branding is deep. Advancement of knowledge is there. Mental health is there. Your look, Ibrahim, I've really, really talked about, is another one. So you are talking to some people that breath, it's not their fault that have marked odor. But again, you are a business owner, you know there will be conversation frequently, right? You must freshen
Mm-hmm.
up your breath. And how do you freshen up your breath? I realized that at a time I was taking more of Tonton, but Tonton wasn't helping, it was even worsening it. So the best you can do, get low, drink a lot of water. Make sure your armpit is clean and clear. Remove all the air and use your deodorant. Use good deodorant and you smell well. Looking good is not expensive. Drinking a lot of water is not expensive. Bathing twice a day is not expensive. Having a fresh breath is not expensive. So when we say looking good, people think you have to wear designers, carry all of that. No. Looking good simply means that you are clean and presentable. What are you selling? What kind of perception are you creating? So you must look presentable, look respectful, because that's another very key part. Everybody feel that some people feel that you have to be you have to have a particular look. Maybe you have to be naked, or your boxer needs to show, or your chest needs to show. I don't know, but remember who your target audience are. Remember the kind of perception you want to create in the people's mind. So Ibrahim, thank you so much. I think I've distracted your class a little, right?
No, it's fine. I
Thank you
mean,
so much. So
you
you
both
can,
in
you
a
can
very
continue.
amazing.
Don't mind.
Yeah. So, yes. Thank you. You know,
No, no, I
you
just
you
wanted to.
have you
Thank
have
you so much.
you have touched a major part of what I would have shared. You see, like I said, whatever thing I'm sharing, I'm just a product of her structured system of mentorship. That's who I have become. So thank you so much for that beautiful input. Now, she said everything. I mean, I can't talk about this topic without making reference to her. You know, there are times where we have gone for events. I mean, I was shocked that day. I will not give the details because she has not shared it in public. But we went there, and the way everybody was going to snap picture. My God, I was blown away that day. Everybody was going to snap picture, and there was a way she created a perception that made the man give her number, his own personal number. I said, what? She just said, watch what I'm going to do. And I was watching. So when she did that thing, I said, this is an action that is geared towards creating the right perception. And that perception created a particular reality that man will have about her. I said, this one, nobody will be snapping, we'll give her phone number. So that relationship can be built. You might not even, I mean, the relationship can just be collecting the phone number. The benefit of it might just be 5 years from now. You cannot leverage on it and say, I know one person. You know, this particular one, I will share it because she has shared it out. At least I was there when she shared it in public. She said there was one project they wanted to do that probably was to come from UK or thereabouts. Can't remember this, but she now said that there was one woman she connected with many years ago. That the woman, she was always reaching out to the woman, but the woman wasn't really forthcoming. But then she was just doing her thing. You know, one thing with this thing is consistency. That's why I say it matter what people think about you. So when they were to recommend an organization, the first thing they recommended was Mrs. Isimeme White, not even Genius Hub. Like I said, it is your personal brand that must come first before the business brand. The reason is because people do business with people, not the business. It is the people. You will write proposal and write proposal and write proposal, have your strong online, do all those. Of course, there is a place where a strong business brand, for instance, if somebody wants to work in Genius Hub, I was shocked. I said, how can people be awake by 1 o'clock? 1 o'clock? Okay, she sent me the stuff, and then I said, okay, nice. I thought it's on Friday. I said, okay, no, it's a mistake. I said, okay. I was expecting it to come probably by 12 in the afternoon, 1 o'clock, later. 10 minutes, 10 minutes, or even less than. I said, goodness. And I asked her, don't you people sleep? Why do you people do it by this time of the night? It then means that this is a culture of the organization. And if I am to recommend, there's a lady that I recommended to an organization. She's one of the correct staff. I mean, one of the staff that they hold in high esteem. In fact, the very first month or the second month she got there, she won best staff of the month. What happened? This is what happened. Now let me be very practical so that we understand what I'm saying. So I was in a training where I was a trainer, and and they were looking for a place to do their internship. So I now said, the lady was looking for a place to do internship. So I now said, okay, let me prove to you guys, let me show something. And I typed the founder of the organization, and I typed the founder's name. And I said, okay, check out this person. And that person, that founder has a very strong personal brand, very strong. She is on almost every newspaper that is major in the country. You see her on Vanguard, you see her on the Punch, you see her, and that time she just won a major award, so I was using it to loud everywhere. So, and I said, I googled the name and I showed her. It was just the things he saw that made her say, I want to go and work in this organization. Because for this person to have this kind of brand, it means that there is a serious opportunity for me to grow. And truly, even me myself, I can't even stand where that girl is, because right now she has grown beyond my expectation. This was somebody who I knew to be weak, feeble, didn't even have direction. But right now, is one of the highly, when he has to do a project in that organization currently, she handles some very major projects in the organization. In fact, there was one she handled that I attended. I said, you are the project manager. Which day did you start? Why? I only need to show the personal brand of the founder of the organization and some of the management staff, and that thing brought her into the organization. What am I trying to say? That as an individual, as a business owner, somebody asked me one day and say, what are you doing? That your business brand, you founded an organization, but you're not so concerned with building. I said, see, in this our civilization, it is your business brand. If you work in an organization like KPMG, I mean, Big Four, you don't even know the owners of this organization. You don't know who owns KPMG. You don't know who owns PwC. You don't know who owns some very major. If I say Andela, if you're not a tech person, you won't know who owns Andela. If I say what's it called, Tony Elumelu's Foundation, if you look at these people, they have a stronger brand. That is what is attracting investors. That's what is attracting funding to the organization. So you find that most of them, they are not always on seats. You can't come into an organization and find the owner or CEO or their software. They are not sitting. They are always out there. There's something they call executive presence. That as they are intentional about. In fact, those guys will consult image consultants. They outsource the service of the image consultant just to know how to dress, just to know how to show up in a particular event. So if you look at Tony Melu, most of those guys, they have Tony Melu Foundation. We have the UBA. You now have his own brand as a person, and then you don't know what, who is this guy here? They are just doing their thing. Why? They're intentional about building their own personal brand, because that will attract stellar talents. If an organization, their management staff have a very strong personal brand, people will want to work in that kind of organization because of the things they see. And that's what I might not have time to go through the statistics. I have them here in my slide, but I won't have time to go into the so many statistics. But let me just share some of them. Now look at this statistics. 70% of consumers feel more connected to brand when their CEO is active on social platforms. I mean, 70% of consumers or customers feel more connected to a brand when their management staff, the founder or CEO, they are very active on social media. So you can imagine. So if you as a business brand, every business brand is an offshoot of your personal brand. So you as a person, the business is your brainchild. So when you are intentional about building your personal brand, then it attracts, it attracts the right talent, it attracts the right resources to your organization. So, for instance, if you look at a man like Tony Elumelu, there's a particular color he has. If you look at his wife, there's a particular way she dresses. And there's a way she dresses that reflects. Sometimes I would just be wondering, how is somebody, you hear that they say this is environmental sustainability. They would use materials that are no longer useful, not useful, but they might not be useful for that particular cloth. But they'll just see, this thing was made with this, and then I will just be wondering, this is representing the brand. So when you go out there and people are saying, where did you make this? Can you make 1,000 units from it? Then they now come to the business and say, let this business now initiate and sustain this. So now look at these statistics, that 90% of snap judgments that consumers have about a product will come from the color. That's why I said your visuals matters a lot. So even while so many things are coming to this my head. See, if I work, okay, let me say CEO now. CEO has a strong personal brand. All the management staff of Junior Soft have a strong personal brand. You can try this. You can try this. If Junior Soft post a content, if Missy Member White shares it, you will see the. If no, let's not say she shares it. We can experiment this thing. Junior Soft will post the content. Missy Member White will post that same content on her own personal page. Other management staff or other staff will post it on their own personal page. You will realize that the number of engagements on the personal page of the founders or management staff will be higher than that of the business page. If, for instance, you engage, if Ms. Member posts it on her status, on her social media handle, and she has, let's say, 1,000 engagements, Junior Soft may have 500 engagement as an organization. That will tell you the power of personal branding when it has to do with business development or even driving business growth. So what am I trying to say in essence is that you have to be very intentional in how you show up as a business owner. Very intentional. Yeah. I'm rounding up now. Now let me just round up with this few thoughts. I mean, if I have my slide here, the 21 slide, but let me just round up with these few thoughts. That the hallmark of every personal branding endeavor is to make you a person everybody wants to associate with. The hallmark of every personal branding endeavor is to turn you into somebody that people want to associate with. I said in the course of my conversation that your name in this life, your name is either a padlock or your name is a key. It's either at the mention of your name, a door will close, or at the mention of your name, a door will open. You must also understand that the objective of every branding endeavor is to communicate the right message that creates the right perception about you. The objective of every endeavor that has to do with branding is to communicate the right message. And that message has to be accurate, has to be coherent, has to be compelling, and has to be differentiated in order to create the right perception about you. What people say about you places you on either side of whether you are a key or your name is a padlock. What people say or think about you place you on either side of this divide. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to leave with this, that there is one major currency in the world of business that you must be very intentional about building or even acquiring. You see, you need money to buy a phone, you need money to build a house, but there is also something that is used to buy money. You will need money to buy a house, you will need money to buy clothes, you need money to buy food. There is also the currency that is used to buy money. One of that currency is called your brand. And to build a brand, there are 3 things you must do. Number 1, people must know you. Number 2, people must like you. Number 3, people must trust you. That trust, it is the pinnacle. People can know you, but if they don't like you and trust you, they can't do business with you. If people know you and like you, but they don't trust you, it's also going to be a problem. That is why when you want to do business with captains of industry, we know you can deliver, but do they trust you? You should see my wife, you say, are you loyal? Are you loyal? Even if you can't do the job, just be loyal. We will teach you on the job. I live in Abuja, and I will say that 70 to 80% of the success that is in that environment is largely based on relationship. Somebody will recommend you. You will see people who do not have strong business brand. One man can have 7 companies collecting contract upon contract upon contract. One person, 7 businesses. Those businesses don't have personal brand, they don't have social media, they just have website, email, that's all. But those people, because they have built a personal brand that is strong enough, they have now been able to relate to the who and who of a particular industry. I wrap up with this. There's a particular guy I was having a conversation with last week, and then he was sharing with me, he is in the oil and gas space. And he was telling me that, Omo, that this oil and gas space, if somebody wants to give you a project, that it is not the fact that industry, that it is based on recommendation. Somebody will look at you and say, if they write on a piece of paper and they say, please, this person is credible, that is the end. This person is reliable, that's the end. that if it gives you a project that can change your life in one day, personal branding is powerful, guys. As a staff in an organization, your personal brand can improve the, especially for those of you in Genius Hub, you can build a personal brand that will make people want to just look, what is even this Genius Hub? What do they even do? Somebody can see the things you post and say, we want to do something. I like the things you are posting. Can you come and do you know an organization? Do you know an organization that can do this thing? And before you know what's happening, that particular thing you are doing online is functioning the organization. So I round up with this.
Capacity, you know, we can actually have a part 2 tomorrow.
Right.
That's what
Part
I'm
2 tomorrow.
about. Yes,
Okay.
same time. Part 2, because this
Okay.
thing cannot just end like this. I'm telling you. So that you can
I
really,
mean,
really, really finish downloading everything you can.
you won't blame
Let's
you.
give
You
a
blame
no,
who you blame who mentored
we
me.
are going to continue this conversation, part 2 tomorrow. I'm
Fantastic,
serious.
fantastic.
I'm serious, Capacity. I'm serious.
Thank
And I
you.
need it.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you, ma. I mean, I've had a very wonderful time. And like I
We can
said,
see.
what
Conserve some
I was
energy
thinking
for the
about,
process.
yes, it's my life and it's what I
It's
have
your life.
seen my dearly
Walk the
beloved
talk.
mentor. Yes, it's what I have come to learn. People have followed. Mrs. Meme White has become a perfect replica of when we talk about branding. I mean, I want to thank her. I mean, let me say this in the open. For she has literally subsidized the price I need to pay to achieve certain level in life. I'm not going through certain pain. I'm not going through certain regrets. I'm not going through certain frustration simply because she transferred her experience, transferred her knowledge, transferred her wealth of all the things she has learned. The only thing she did not transfer her pain. She did not transfer her regret. So what I would have regretted, she said, no, if you take this path, this will work. Part of the things I'm doing when it has to do with personal branding were things I learned from her. It was in her office. She said, Ibrahim, go and get house car. The kind of pictures you are posting online, don't be posting those kind of pictures that you snap in a gate. I said, you must see yourself as a brand. That will change my mindset. And so when I talk about personal branding today, I can talk about personal branding a full day because that's become my life. Because
Tomorrow.
let me stop here so that tomorrow
Oh, yeah.
we will educate.
Still up.
Thank you so much.
Ibrahim,
Thank you so much,
thank you
Mama.
for
Thank
listening.
you. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you
listening to
so.
Mrs. Meme White. She has downloaded some things in you and you pick them up. There are people who she has also put some of these things in and they have not picked them up, but you are picking them up and you are shining with it because that is what she is about. If you say define the Meme White in one word, I will say impact. There are
Impact.
plenty, many one words.
Yes.
So. There
Yes.
is
For that one, impact.
there is
In fact, if
branding.
you want to define it, just say, if you want to say define Mr. Mel, just say look at Ibrahim. Just say Ibrahim. Let's do it like that.
I like that. Just like Paul said, it be imitators of me. Exactly.
Me.
That's where we're going here. Okay, Brian, we really need to round up
Thank you so
now
much.
so that tomorrow we
Thank you
can
so much.
continue. Thank
No
you so much
problem.
for coming, and we are going to continue tomorrow. Viewers, we are continuing this session tomorrow because it is not over. So we just get a last word from Isimeme White as we say thank you to Ibrahim. Drop your social media handles as our own social media
All right.
handles are scrolling. Okay, thank you,
All right.
everyone.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. We are really, really grateful. Thank you for pouring out your art. Thank you for pouring out your experience. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. Ibrahim, we didn't take this for granted at all. We did not take this for granted. We are extremely
Thank you, Mom.
grateful. We are honored that you have honored us, and we pray God continue to honor you. You are just starting, like I said, you are making the world very proud, and we are extremely very proud of you. Thank you so much for what you do, and thank you so much for being you. So please follow Ibrahim on his various social media platforms. He has very, very rich videos that are transforming lives, videos that will change the way you see yourself, video that will make you scale and grow. That's how I have described this kind of video he put out there. Follow him closely on his various social media platforms. Please follow him. So the social media and can we display that? Can we display his social media and so that people can follow Ibrahim Odion? our life transformational coach who is changing life with intentionality. Changing mind with intentionality is very, very key for me. Don't cover you and don't play with. So thank you so much, Ibrahim. Thank you so much. For everyone, for our team at Genius Hub who have worked day and night to ensure we have fantastic webinar from the graphic designer team, from the graphic designer, graphic designers, the team, thank you. The media, thank you. The programs department, thank you. And thank you to the entire team. Thank you so much for all you do for Genius Hub. And thank you to myself. I also don't want to forget to thank myself. Thank you to myself. Yeah. So that is the end of today's webinar. Don't forget to follow us tomorrow for part 2, where we're going to be having Ibrahim Odion, Coach Ibrahim Odion, where he will give us part 2. Thank you, Mr. Capacity. God bless you, Mr. Capacity. And God bless all our community members. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Training is still ongoing. Don't mind me, that's keep my mind. Our training is still ongoing. Don't forget to bring your children, where we expose them to life skills. The summer is a summer summer I never forget, because this summer children have been exposed to life skills, and you know what it is? There are skills that actually help them make an informed decision in life. We want our children to be able to make an informed decision. You want your children to be able to make an informed decision, bring them to Genius Hub. You want them to become fashion designer. You want them to become a filmmaker, from adding cameras to producing movies, to becoming video editors, cinematographers. Don't bring them. Or you want them to become programmers, want them to become a product, UI product designer, bring them to Genius Hub. So we expose them to all of these digital skills that will transform their life forever. Thank you once again. Till we see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Welcome to Genius Hub, the right destination for human capacity development, skills acquisition, and empowerment. Genius Hub is a human capital development organization with offices across Nigeria and Africa, and with a strong presence in Lagos, Kano, Edo, and Rwanda. With a vision to improve lives and empower knowledge, Genius Hub prides itself in providing services and training to over 17,000 persons in over 49 TVET entrepreneurship, employability, and digital skills, such as basic literacy skills, graphics design, website development, digital marketing, filmmaking, and many more. Genius Hub is committed to promoting MSME growth and visibility through incubation, acceleration, startup development services, as well as tech-driven interventions, including training and capacity building in digital marketing, basic digital literacy, product photography, social media marketing, financial management, search engine optimization, and more. Through NYTV, Genius Hub reaches out to train aspiring creatives in the areas of photography, cinematography, editing, lighting, and many more.